Am I the a-hole for wanting a bit of space from my daughter after I discovered she isn't mine biologically? I'm 40, she is 16, and I've been divorced from her mother since she was about a year old. We've always had a good relationship and never had any reason to doubt she's mine. Her mother recently let it slip she might not be mine, and we did a DNA test and she's right, no biological relationship whatsoever. After confronting my ex, she broke down and confessed that when we were dating, she went on a night out with her colleagues and ended up in bed with a guy she worked with. She is trying to say she was probably drugged or something, as she was a lot more drunk than she should have been and woke up in bed with him with no memory of sleeping with him. She panicked and feared what I'd say. She just tried to ignore it and hoped she was mine, as she always felt like she looked like me. Apparently the biological father is some French guy who's married and has kids, and I vaguely remember him from when we were together. I didn't like him. He seemed sleazy, but put it down to him just being French anyway. It's ducked me up good and proper, and it also has ducked my daughter up. It's giving me some seriously dark thoughts, and I just want to take a bit of time to myself and go no contact for a short while. Not to punish her in any way or be horrible, but I just need to clear my head and get some help before I see her again. I know she isn't to blame and don't want to hurt her at all, but I feel I can't be a dad to her while I'm struggling like this. She didn't take that well at all, and I guess has told people, and so many people are trying to get in touch. Tell me what an a-hole I am and shouldn't do anything I will regret. I'm just muting everyone, including her, so I can think. I'm thinking of quitting my job and selling my house to go traveling for a bit and just see the world before I come back and face it all. Could even take a trip to France, if you know what I mean. AITA for taking the space and not having contact with her in the meantime? Relevant comments. OP on the future relationship with his daughter after finding out. OP replies, "Yes, I know she's my daughter and I love her to bits, but I can't be a dad to her while I'm going through what I'm going through and just ignore it. It's not going to be forever, just until I sort my head out." OP on getting therapy for himself and his daughter in order to help grasp on what happened and not sharing with the families and friends yet. OP replies, "Oh yeah, therapy/counseling will be a must. I need to get out of my job anyway. I've been there for years and people know me so much and keep asking questions about me, my family, etc., as colleagues do, and it's hurting me to just talk about it." One Redditor wrote, "It's a shit situation and I'm sorry you're going through it, but you're her dad, you've helped raise her. This doesn't change that. You don't get time off from being a parent. You have to work through this on your own time. You can't abandon her. She will need you more than ever right now. You have to think about her before yourself." Update, 1 week later. So basically I tried to unalive myself after the last post, took an OD. So stupid me didn't have enough painkillers and made the mistake of sending my mom a text about where my keys are and where she'd find me, and it was the one day she was actually looking at her phone as she received the text, so panicked and rang 999 quickly. I was rushed to hospital, had my stomach pumped and sent home with antidepressants after a couple of days. I haven't taken them though. My GP has called me and referred me for NHS talking therapies, so I have a hefty wait just to be seen. I'm staying with my parents for now so they can keep their eyes on me. I dare say they're not very happy with me. Especially my dad, as it was his brother's funeral on Monday and he missed the due to me being in hospital. They know all about the situation with my daughter and don't care, especially my mom. She said she's her granddaughter no matter what and keeps talking about how her brother/my late uncle took on his partner's son and he's her nephew in her eyes. In fact, she said he's always been one of her favorite ones. And my cousin adopted his wife's son while she was pregnant, and she said he's her nephew too in the ways that matter. Although they were aware of it from the start. As regards to my daughter, it's baby steps. She came to see me in hospital and we had a moment together. She's staying in my house now looking after it until I come home. No doubt we'll have a chat soon in greater detail. Her mom/my ex has family healthcare and my daughter is covered by it, so she's getting her into private therapy. I think it's the least she can do for her. I still don't 100% believe my ex about being drugged or anything. She's a hell of a liar. But not just Billy bullshitter stuff. We're talking politician level, bending the truth and making you look like a fool for believing her. In fact, when we split up I told her she should be a politician and she thought I was being harsh. Plus, I always remember this stupid argument we once had where she said sometimes women are pushed to cheat and the husband is as responsible as they are for pushing them to it. I remember at the time being ducking stumped in my eyes now. That was like some sort of foreshadowing. I was too stupid to see it though. My head is still in a mess though. As much as I love my daughter, I'm having some ducked up emotions and feelings. The main one that breaks my heart is that I found out saying when she was a baby, toddler, etc., I might have walked away. But I couldn't now as I love her too much. And it makes me feel guilty that I'd have walked out and left her as a baby and missed out on all the amazing stuff we've been through. The therapy can't come soon enough. Relevant comments. One Redditor wrote, "Your feelings are allowed to be complicated and in some ways unfair." OP replies, "I will say to be fair to myself when I wrote that I was still in shock and very vulnerable, and very drunk too, and wasn't in a place to receive any sort of advice or criticism. I won't say I'm not any of those still, but I've had the previous week and all the events to help me process now, so I'm thinking clearer. That's not to say people weren't awful even though they were offering advice. For all the people they're trying to be reasonable and getting me to understand, there were 3 to 4 others being absolutely brutal and would not let up heaping their shit on me and then mocking me even when I was thinking of deleting myself." Story 2. My life was ruined, and my family told me to get over it. Last year, I left a really bad paying job and got a new well-paying job. I was planning on moving into a bigger apartment, and was so excited because my life was turning around, finally. My cousin, let's call him Lyle, had asked to stay over because he had a fight with his mom. I agreed and he stayed over for 5 days. On Friday, he wanted to go to a friend. I said I didn't want to, because I don't want to hang out with a bunch of 18-year-olds. The only people who want to hang with 18-year-olds are other 18-year-olds, and Drake. I eventually caved because he kept begging. As soon as I walked through the door, there was a dog which was pretty comfortable with humans. I went to go pet him, and he jumped and bit me in the face. My top lip started bleeding profusely. No one handed me a tissue to stop the blood. I had to ask for one. The dad came up to me and asked to see the wound. When he saw it, he said that I didn't need to go to the hospital, and that the dog didn't bite me, it was his paw that scratched me. Yes, he was trying to gaslight me. The stepmom then tried to put undiluted hydrogen peroxide on the wound, and I told her you can't put that on human skin if it hasn't been diluted with water. She gave me the filthiest look and said, "What qualifications do you have, HUH? What qualifications do you have?" I told her that I am a certified somatologist and that you can't put that on your skin if it hasn't been diluted with water. That's when she told me to go duck myself and walked away. Nobody apologized to me. I then went to the hospital to receive the medical attention I apparently didn't need. I had to get plastic surgery and 6 stitches. Obviously, this meant that I had to take time off from work, which I couldn't afford to do. I was in training, and the woman training me only had a certain amount of time to do so. This meant that I had to sign a contract for mutual separation from my job. So, I lost my job, which meant that I'd lose my apartment. I ended up drinking heavily and thought of deleting myself. My mom ended up booking me into a rehab facility which cost her $100,000, $5,400. I tried making contact with the family who owned the dog, and they all ignored me like I didn't exist. Even my own cousin refused to give contact info of the family, and completely ignored me. I wanted to sue, but I didn't have the money for it. I tried to contact lawyers who would do a contingency fee, meaning I only pay them when I win. They said I have a case, but they won't take it because I can't sue for much, so it wouldn't be worth their time. I don't know how losing income in your apartment wouldn't be worth much, and that's excluding the rehab and the scar removal treatments that are costing me thousands. So, I basically can't sue when I've been ignored and discarded like I'm just a piece of shit they inconveniently stepped on. My family, specifically my aunt, is telling me I should just get over it. It's been a year, and I still can't believe what they did to me, and how little they cared. So, in my fit of rage, I started harassing the family online. My aunt ended up telling them that it was me. This angers me because when my face was ripped open and I lost my job and house, she didn't bother to tell her son to give me the family's contact info. But when that family is upset because they're getting harassed online, she will immediately make contact with them to let them know it was me. In her messages, she told them that I'm not mentally well and that I don't know what it is that I'm doing. but she never mentioned anything about what they did to me or how they treated me. Now, I'm not only in a position of being looked at like an insect that doesn't even deserve an apology, but they're also laughing at me because my aunt snitched on me for commenting rude things on their social media accounts. Some of you might say that it's not their fault their dog bit me, but I disagree. The way your animals behave is a reflection of you. And the fact that they didn't even bother to apologize, and instead just gaslit me and swore at me says a lot. No one even reached out to see if I was okay, including my cousin Lyle. He ignored every message I sent to him. By the way, my aunt defended her son when I confronted her with how he was acting. I have decided to cut my aunt and my cousin off for good. I don't want anything to do with them. They'll never be invited to my wedding if I someday get married, they won't be allowed to meet my future kids, they're dead to me. AITA for that? Every day when I look into the mirror and see the scars, I'm taken back to that day. I can still feel the scars. Every time someone looks at me, I just want to die from embarrassment and shame because I can see them looking at it. My self-esteem is at zero, and I feel so worthless because not even my own family would stand up for me. My mom helped a lot, but she told me that if I want to sue, I'm on my own. Not only that, but the healing process from the bite and surgery was so traumatic because it's above my lip, which meant eating was difficult. I couldn't yawn without splitting the stitches open, I couldn't talk, I was scared to sleep in case I scratched him while unconscious. I'm still paying thousands for the scar removal. It's a painful process and it takes long. I'm just feeling so run down, betrayed and angry. I don't even think I can still try sue, and even if I did, they will counter-sue for harassment thanks to the actions of my aunt. I think I should also mention that this family is super rich, and they didn't even help pay for my initial visit to the doc. My cousin told my mom they would, but apparently he just said that to shut my parents up. They never paid for anything, they didn't even say sorry. Lyle just lied so he could be left alone. Edit, just addressing some points I'm seeing. It's hard to respond to everyone. I'm not the type to miss work because of a minor inconvenience. I've gone to school after I had my wisdoms removed, and I still attended college after a bike accident and I broke my collarbone. I even had to write exams, with assistance. This wasn't a minor inconvenience to me. It was a big deal and I was booked off for 2 weeks. It wasn't a small injury. If I just had to get a stitch or two, I would have gone to work. This was 6 stitches after facial surgery. It's easy to say that I should have still gone to work. That's not a position anyone wants to be in. If you can take time off work for a flu, why am I in the wrong because I took time off after an attack and surgery? And yes, it impacted my work because I was only there for 3 days and then this happened. It's not an easy thing to go through, or easy to brush off as some of you are making it appear. And just to add, I'm not sitting around hopeless and blaming others for my problems. I got out of the dark hole I was in, I'm now self-employed and living comfortably. I am just sharing what happened to me because there are times when I just remember it all, and the pain comes flooding back in. This was not an easy thing to go through. I'm glad for those of you who think this would be a walk in the park and I'm just a drama queen. I'm glad things won't impact you, but it did impact me. A little empathy goes a long way. I hope none of you have to go through something like this for you to understand that this wasn't as easy or as simple as some of you are making it out to be. Have a blessed day. Comments. One Redditor wrote, "You might not like this comment, but I feel like someone needs to say this to you. Your anger, frustration, sadness, and resentment are justified. But by being mad and turning your life into a pit of pain and anger is not going to give you your life back. Start over, cut off the family members that do not help and start over. Things spiral out of control and it sucks, but it will keep sucking until you stop pursuing vengeance instead of rebuilding your life. So give up, move on, karma will deal with them. Just make sure to never help that cousin, and if someone asks you about your cousin and your aunt, just be honest, but only that and nothing more." OP replies, "You are right. I'm still just trying to grasp the fact that people can be that cruel and not give a F. On the bright side, the plastic surgeon didn't charge me for the procedure and stitches. That was the only shred of kindness I saw during that whole thing. I think he had some pity for me." OP adds, I forgot to mention how I had to be awake while receiving plastic surgery and stitches on my face. That was traumatic. Redditor wrote, I really am horrified at what you went through and continue to go through. You are not going to get anywhere with these people. Can you get therapy to help you cope with the trauma? If people judge you on how you look, then they are not worth your time. You got far before this and can again, but hard though it is, you really are going to have to let it go with these people. It's not doing you any good dwelling on it, as it's dragging you down to where you really don't want to be. You need to move forward. Your father and stepmother sound toxic. Leave them behind. You same the people whose dog it was, along with your aunt and cousin. You have your mom pull you big boy pants up and build yourself up again. I wish you luck. Well, this is the end of these interesting stories. So what do you guys think? What should OP in the first story do to improve his bonding with his daughter? And what about the OP of the second story? Should he restart or try to sue the family of the dog? If you guys have any thoughts or suggestions or an interesting story of your own, do share that in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the story, do like this video and subscribe to our channel. You guys can also support us by checking out the links in the video description and the channel's about section. You can watch these videos in the meantime. Hope you guys have a good day. Goodbye.